What if I told you that the world's largest democracy, a nation of 1.4 billion people, a self-proclaimed superpower, is not as strong or as unified as it seems? What if the loud proclamations of progress and prosperity are masking a deeper, more troubling reality? Today, we're diving into the heart of India's economy, its wealth gap, and the stories that often get drowned out by the noise of nationalism and internet spam. Buckle up, because this is a journey through the cracks of India's glittering facade. India loves to project itself as a rising global power. Its netizens are some of the most vocal online, fiercely defending their country's image. But behind the hashtags and viral posts lies a more complicated truth. Let's start with the economy, the backbone of any nation's strength. According to a recent report by Bloom Ventures, a venture capital firm, India's consumer market tells a story that might surprise you. India's consumer market is largely driven by just 130 million people, roughly the population of Mexico. These are the active consumers, the ones with disposable income, the ones startups and entrepreneurs target. Then there's another 300 million people, the so-called emerging consumers, who are just beginning to spend thanks to digital payment systems like UPI. But here's the kicker, that leaves over 1.2 billion people, 90% of the population, with little to no spending power. Let that sink in. For all the talk of India's booming economy, the majority of its people are barely participating in it. Prime Minister Narendra Modi often touts India's GDP growth, but what does that growth mean for the average Indian? According to the report, 80% of Indians live under the poverty line. Yes, you heard that right. While the government may fudge the numbers to paint a rosy picture, the reality on the ground is far less glamorous. The wealth gap is widening, and it's reshaping the country in ways that are hard to ignore. One of the most striking trends in India today is premiumization. Brands are increasingly focusing on high-end products for the wealthy rather than catering to the mass market. Affordable housing now makes up just 18% of the market, down from 40% 5 years ago. Premium smartphones are flying off the shelves, while cheaper models lag behind. Gated communities are sprouting up in cities, creating islands of wealth in a sea of poverty. This isn't just a shift in the market, it's a reflection of a society becoming more unequal by the day. The experience economy is booming, but only for the privileged few. Tickets for international artists like Coldplay and Ed Sheeran sell out in minutes, while millions struggle to afford basic necessities. Companies that have adapted to this trend are thriving, while those still focused on the mass market are losing ground. As report author Sajith Pai puts it, India's post-pandemic recovery has followed a K-shaped pattern. The rich are getting richer, while the poor are falling further behind. This isn't a new phenomenon. India's wealth gap has been widening for decades. In 1990, the top 10% held 34% of the national income. Today, that number has skyrocketed to 58%. Meanwhile, the bottom 50% has seen their share drop from 22% to just 15%. This isn't just a gap, it's a chasm. And it's getting worse. The situation is further aggravated by declining purchasing power, falling financial savings, and rising debt among the general population. The Reserve Bank of India has cracked down on unsecured lending, which had fueled much of the spending by the emerging class. With borrowing now restricted, consumption is expected to take a hit in the short term. There are some bright spots. A record harvest and a $12 billion tax cut in the recent budget could provide a slight boost to GDP. But these are temporary fixes, not long-term solutions. Long-term challenges persist. India's middle class, once the backbone of consumer demand, is being squeezed. Wages have stagnated, and real incomes have effectively halved over the past decade when adjusted for inflation. The Reserve Bank of India reports that net savings are nearing a 50-year low, and as AI and automation take over routine tasks, white-collar jobs are becoming scarcer. The Indian government's own economic survey for 2024 to 2025 warns that labor displacement due to technological advancements is a growing concern, especially in a services-driven economy like India's. Beyond the glittering cities, rural India paints an even bleaker picture. Over 60% of the population relies on agriculture for their livelihood, yet farmers continue to struggle with erratic monsoons, poor infrastructure, and unfair pricing. Farmer suicides remain a national tragedy, driven by mounting debt and lack of government support. Despite ambitious schemes like PM Kisan, which provides direct cash transfers to farmers, the rural economy remains fragile and dependent on good weather. While India boasts world-class institutions like the IITs and AIIMs, the reality for most citizens is starkly different. Government schools remain underfunded, with poor infrastructure and a shortage of teachers. The healthcare system is similarly divided. Elite private hospitals cater to the wealthy, while millions struggle to access basic medical care. Public hospitals are overcrowded and understaffed, with many rural areas lacking even a single doctor. India's economic inequality is mirrored in its political landscape. While democracy is celebrated, political dynasties continue to dominate. Corruption remains rampant, and policies often favor big businesses over the common citizen. The rise of nationalism and majoritarian politics has also fueled social divisions, distracting from pressing economic issues. So, is India really the superpower it claims to be? The answer is complicated. While there's no denying the country's potential, the reality is that its growth is uneven, its wealth gap is widening, and its challenges are mounting. For every success story, there are millions of untold struggles. The truth is, India's journey is far from over, and the road ahead is anything but smooth. India stands at a crossroads. If it truly wants to emerge as a superpower, it must address its deep-rooted inequalities, invest in education and healthcare, and create policies that benefit not just the elite, but the entire population. Only then can it claim its place as a true global leader. If you found this video interesting, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, share it with others who might care about these issues, and drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you're new here, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any video. Thanks for watching, and until next time.